Okay, by popular demand, here is a tutorial for Noel's aka Broken Arrow from the new album. This is a nice one to play. I've just figured out what I think of the chords. This one you'll need your capo on the 2nd fret. Now, intro and verse use the same chords, just 3, well actually 4. There's a B7 right at the end of the verse, but with the intro, now simple chords are E minor, D, G, and back to D. Now you could argue that he could get E minor 7, F sharp over the D, and the G, and then back to the F sharp over the D again. Again, whatever you like to play, whatever sounds best to your ear, but I'll just do the simple chords here, okay? So, E minor, D, G. Now the strum, I can't explain strums, but just listen. So, keep that up right through the verse as well, and then right at the very end of the verse there's a B7 or a B11, but I think it's a B7. Okay. A fallen angel, a broken arrow, she comfort me and ease my troubled mind. Shine a light out into the shadows. Right, chorus. You want a C, G, a B7, and back to the E minor. Okay? You do that for the first 2 lines of the chorus, and then right at the end you've got a couple of quick chords, which I'll show you when we get there. So C, G, B7, E minor. Lead me in peace, I'm on the side of the angels. If I die in a dream, then let me live my life. But all the lies that told me, they make me want to shiver. When I'm lost and I'm lonely. Now stay on the C for there for one more measure. Then I think it's a D, B7, and back to the E minor, and then the verse chords again. So when I'm lost and I'm lonely, that's not gonna ease my troubled mind. So one downstroke on an A, downstroke on a D, downstroke on a B7, hang on to that for a little longer, and then an E minor. I think. Sounds good enough to me. And I'm lost and I'm lonely, that's not gonna ease my troubled mind. Then play the intro again. And back into verse 2, which is the same as verse 1. Well, actually the ending is slightly different to verse 1, but I'll show you that when we get there too. She's rolling over a misty morning, set sail for where the full winds blow. She's a siren and I'm a warning. They say I never told you so. Then go to an E minor and sit on that E minor, and then to B7. So slightly different in that you're going, rather than sitting on the C there, you're going to be sitting on the D and then back to the E minor to B7 at the end of that verse. Then your chorus again. Leave me in peace, I'm on the side of the angels. If I die in a dream, then let me live my life. But I'm lost. Make me wanna shiver. And I'm lonely. And the same again. That's not gonna ease my troubled mind. Now, slightly different at the end of this chorus as well. What you do here is basically exactly the same as what he does in Dream On. If you've seen my Dream On tutorial, you'll see that right at the beginning, or he does the E minor, that run up and down the 5th string. So it's basically just E minor, then playing the 1st fret relative to the capo on the 5th string, then releasing the 5th string, back onto the 5th string again, and back to E minor before going into the little solo bit. So the chorus. Lost and lonely, that's not gonna ease my troubled mind. Then into the solo where the woo-hoos go. C, G, woo. So C, G, D, and E minor 4 times. Another chorus, but you're just going to keep playing those same chords from the solo there. So he changes the chords for the chorus 2, and the first line of the chorus 2 is slightly different as well. Leave me in peace, I'm all alone with my angel. She died in a dream, and I can live my life. So E minor, C, G, D, E minor. I'm lost and it's not gonna ease my troubled mind. So you just keep going C, G, D, E minor, C, G, G. That's not gonna ease my troubled mind. D, E minor, C. And again the same at the end of the first chorus. A, D, B7. Back to the E minor. So for the outro, you're basically just playing verse 1, but just on an E minor. Fallen angel, a broken arrow, she comforted me and eased my troubled mind. Just the first line, the first verse, I should say. And then I think it just finishes on a sort of a D sus2 there, and then you can just do a light strum on an E minor again to finish. And that's it, yeah. I rushed through that solo and chorus bit, but yeah, he does mix the chords up a little bit in that song, I'm just sort of realising. So, yeah, basically all you've got to remember is when you get past that woohoo, once you get to that woohoo solo bit, it's basically just C, G, D, E minor, right to the end of the song. Then you've got that last A, D, B7, and then just sitting on your E minor till the end. So, yeah. Broken Arrow, another one down. Which tutorial will I do next? Streaming Along the Beach is a good one. Maybe that one will be next. See ya.